In the ancient land of Canaan, destiny was already unfolding under God's eternal promise. This is the story of Jacob, a man chosen by God, yet a man who was deeply flawed. As the son of Isaac and grandson of Abraham, the covenant rested heavily upon his lineage, but Jacob's life began with a struggle right from his mother's womb. As he was born, he emerged, grasping the heel of his twin brother, Esau. That single act foretold a lifetime of striving, conflict, and a deep desire for blessing, no matter the cost. Through a calculated deception, Jacob managed to steal the sacred blessing meant for Esau from their aging father, Isaac. But this victory came with a price. Fear followed swiftly, and Jacob was forced to flee his home, his family, and everything he knew. Alone, he journeyed east, toward the distant land of Haran. One night, as he rested on the bare ground with a stone for a pillow, he fell into a deep sleep beneath a vast, silent sky. In a dream, he saw a magnificent ladder reaching from the earth all the way to heaven. Angels ascended and descended upon it in a divine procession. And there, at the top, God himself stood and spoke. He renewed the promises made to Abraham and Isaac, promises of land, of countless descendants, and of his unwavering presence. Jacob awoke trembling, suddenly aware that he was on holy ground. He made a vow, promising his faith to God, if he would guide and protect him on his journey. With a renewed sense of hope, Jacob continued on his path. His journey eventually led him to a well near the city of Haran. Shepherds were gathered there with their flocks, waiting for the heavy stone to be rolled away from the mouth of the well. And then he saw her. It was Rachel, the daughter of his uncle Laban. Her beauty was gentle, her presence captivating. For Jacob, it felt as if time itself had paused. Overcome with a sudden rush of emotion and strength, he single-handedly rolled the massive stone away from the well and watered her flock. Then he broke down and wept, revealing to her that they were family. Rachel ran home, breathless with the news, and her father Laban welcomed Jacob with open arms. Jacob stayed, serving his uncle faithfully as the days turned into weeks under the warm Haran sun. All the while, his love for Rachel grew deeper and more unwavering. Her kindness was a perfect match for her beauty. Jacob was so in love that he offered to work for Laban for 7 years in exchange for Rachel's hand in marriage. And to him, because of the depth of his love, those 7 long years felt like only a few days. Love made time feel weightless and full of hope. The wedding feast finally arrived, and the night was filled with celebration and music. But the darkness of that night concealed a cruel deception. When Jacob awoke the next morning, he found himself beside Leah, Rachel's older sister, not his beloved Rachel. The sting of betrayal burned deeply in his heart. Laban, his uncle, defended his actions with cold justifications about tradition, claiming the older daughter must marry first. Rachel wept as their love was cruelly delayed. Heartbroken but determined, Jacob agreed to work for 7 more years for the woman he truly loved. A week later, Rachel finally became his wife, cherished and loved above all else. But sorrow seemed to follow her beauty. While her sister Leah was blessed with children, Rachel could not conceive. Jealousy and anguish began to shadow the household. In her desperation for a child, Rachel gave her servant to Jacob, a common practice at the time, hoping to build a family through her. Sons were reborn, but her own heart remained empty and aching. As Leah bore more children, Rachel's pain only deepened. God watched quietly over this family's struggle, their longings, and their tears. Years passed in a haze of tension and longing. But then, finally, God remembered Rachel. He opened her womb, and she conceived and bore a son. She named him Joseph, which means God has taken away my disgrace. Joy, pure and overwhelming, replaced years of tears. She praised God for lifting her shame. Meanwhile, Jacob had prospered greatly under God's favor, but his success stirred up envy in Laban and his sons. The tension became unbearable, and God commanded Jacob to return to his homeland. The old fear of facing Esau resurfaced, but Jacob knew he had to obey. As they prepared to flee, Rachel secretly took her father's household idols. They slipped away quietly into the wilderness, but Laban pursued them in a rage. He was stopped only by a dream from God, and a covenant of peace was made between them on a mountain ridge. Jacob pressed onward, moving closer to his destiny. As he prepared to finally meet his brother Esau after 20 long years, he found himself alone once again. That night, a mysterious, divine figure appeared and wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Jacob, though injured, refused to let go without receiving a blessing. In that moment, his name was changed from Jacob the deceiver to Israel, meaning he who struggles with God. Limping but transformed, he went to face his brother. To his astonishment, Esau ran to him and embraced him with mercy and forgiveness. The fear that had haunted him for decades was replaced by reconciliation. Peace followed his obedience. Rachel watched as God's promises continued to unfold, and it seemed that hope was finally secure. But on their journey toward Bethlehem, sorrow made a sudden, tragic return. Rachel went into labor with her second child. The pain was intense, her labor difficult. She managed to bear another son, but her strength was fading fast. With her dying breath, she named him Benoni, son of my sorrow. But Jacob, in his grief, renamed him Benjamin, son of my right hand. Rachel's life slipped away quietly on the roadside. Jacob held her as she died. A moment where the deepest love met the most profound loss. He buried her right there, near Bethlehem, and raised a pillar over her grave. His tears soaked the earth beneath him. Rachel's love, however, would endure far beyond her death. Her sons carried her legacy forward. Joseph, her firstborn, would rise from slavery in Egypt to become a powerful ruler, saving his family and the world from famine. Benjamin, the son of her sorrow, would become the head of a mighty tribe of Israel. Rachel herself became a powerful symbol of both sorrow and hope for her people. Prophets would later remember her tears, and mothers would echo her grief, but her story always pointed toward redemption. Jacob lived on, forever shaped by this love and this loss. His faith, once marked by striving and deception, was matured through suffering. His family grew to become the 12 tribes of Israel, and God's promise continued through the generations. Rachel's influence echoed through history, her love shaping the future of a nation. Together, their story reveals God's incredible patience and his ability to work through imperfect, struggling people. It's a story of love enduring trials, deception, and even death, with God remaining faithful through it all. From the well in Haran to the wilderness of their journey, their story flows from longing to legacy. Heaven watched every step, and God wove their sorrow into a tapestry of salvation. Their lives point us toward a divine purpose, reminding us that love can become eternal when it's shaped by faith. Rachel's tears were not wasted. Jacob's struggle was not in vain. Their story still speaks to us today of patience and love, of faith through hardship, and of trusting God's timing, even when it's surrounded by human pain. Their journey mirrors our own struggles of waiting, trusting, and believing. It's a story of love refined by endurance and promise fulfilled in God's time. An ancient story of faith and love etched into eternity. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of faith and history.